When you are pushed to your limits, you can accomplish anything. This is one of the classic war strategies. As the saying goes, how do you take the island? You burn the boats. Because when there's no way of escape, you will push yourself past every possible boundary and accomplish the impossible. This is also why the rule of battle is never surround your enemy. Always leave a route of escape. Because otherwise they'll fight with superhuman strength, because they know that unless they do the impossible, they're going to die. Always leave a route of escape so that they don't feel the need to achieve the impossible. Because we live our must. Everyone wants more. We want to have better relationships. We want to have better health. We want to feel like we're growing and becoming the people we want to be. But until it must happen, it won't happen. Because we live our identity. We live our must. There's a fascinating midrash regarding the 40 years in the Midbar, in the desert. After the spies, the Meraglim, after they sinned, all 600,000 men were sentenced to dying in the desert. Every Tisha B'Av, all the Jews would dig their grave and go to sleep inside of it. The next morning, 15,000 men wouldn't wake up, because 600,000 divided by 40 is 15,000. So every year, 15,000 men would wake up dead in their graves. And the Jews were in the Midbar for 40 years, and this happened every single year. People would dig their graves and die, and please don't let me die. And the next morning, 15,000 people wouldn't wake up. Can you imagine how scary that would be? Going to sleep not knowing if you'll wake up the next morning? Except, on the 40th year, something very strange happened. There were only 15,000 people left, and they all dug their graves, knowing that this would be their last night. But the next morning, all 15,000 men woke up. And they thought, maybe we miscalculated, maybe there's some mistake. So they did it again the next night, and the next, and the next. And it wasn't until Tu B'Av that they realized that this decree, this Gezer, had been withdrawn, and that they weren't going to die. This is one of the reasons we celebrate Tu B'Av, but the obvious question is, what happened? Why was this time different? And the answer is that tefillah, prayer, is about changing who you are, changing your core, changing your underlying will, becoming a new person. But this requires an inhuman push of self towards a new state of existence. And every year, the men would look around at everyone else and think to themselves, it won't be me. Yeah, I'm not going to die. Look at all these other people. So yes, every year people would daven that they would survive, that they wouldn't be part of the 15,000 that would die that year. But in the back of their minds, they were thinking that they would still wake up the next morning. But that last year, there was no other option. It was 100%. They knew that if something didn't happen right now, they wouldn't wake up tomorrow. So they did the impossible. They recreated themselves. They went all in. It's like a mother who lifts a car to save her baby, to save her child. It's impossible. But that doesn't stop her. In any other circumstance, she wouldn't be able to make that car budge. But to save her child, the laws of physics are merely a suggestion. We need to go all in, no matter what it is. Our spirituality, our relationships, our physical health, our life goals. There is no middle ground. Give all of yourself towards all that you do. There's a story of a man who's captured and thrown into a pit, left to die with everyone else in that pit. And the only way out of this pit is to climb out. But to make the climb, in the middle of that climb, you need to make an impossible jump from one rock to another rock. And there's a rope that everyone attaches themselves to in order to make the jump. Because if you miss the jump, the rope will catch your fall, making sure you don't hit the floor and die. And every day people would watch those foolish enough to try. And every day everyone who tried would fall back to the ground. The rope would catch them, but they would not make it out. again and again. This man would try, but again and again he would fall. And one day he was speaking to an elderly cripple who had been in this pit for decades. And he explained that the legend was that no one had ever made the jump, because they knew that if they fell, the rope would save them. The next day, this man made the jump. How? How did he make it? He didn't use a rope, because he knew that if there was no safety net, he would hold nothing back. He had to make it or he would die. He had to find the strength that he didn't even know he had. He had to make it. Because only if you go all in can you achieve the impossible.